What's up, guys? I'm Mike from StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. Today was a crazy day in the market. Tom's favorite stock, SPCE, popped about 18%. It really just exploded. We also had Tesla explode, and we had some news with Palantir, which also exploded up about 21%. So in this video, we're going to be covering everything that happened in the market today, the plays that we're watching for the rest of the week, and some overall market news. And at the end of the video, we have a $16 million option with Apple. So make sure you guys stick around to the end of this video. And if you aren't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe. Tom and I post brand new videos every single day. But let's get right into today's video.
Yeah, SPCE really popped, like you said, about 18%. You can see as I'm talking in after hours right now, this stock is flying way up, all the way up to 34.63, and it just seems to keep moving in after hours right now. And they're actually going up because their test flight window is gonna open up this Friday, December 11th. So it's gonna be a pretty risky hold, if you buy it on Friday and you hold over the weekend. But it really looks like that this stock is flying up ahead of this test flight, and you can really see how big of a green candle they had today. It really reminds me of whenever they were popping back in February and March, all the way up to 42. I'm not saying that SPCE is going to keep flying like this tomorrow, but I really like the moves right now, and I'm definitely going to be looking at it for a day trade, just like I called it out for my free day trade today in the Discord.
Awesome. So yeah, actually that's it's great that you brought that up. So in the Discord, Tom and I post free day trades every single morning. It's the first link in the description down below. And Tom really sniped his day trade this morning. He called out SPCE to the upside. It popped up. I had INTC to the downside. So overall, that was a great little day trading session today. So if you guys want to join, it's the first link in the description down below. But Tom, what else happened in the market today?
Yeah, like you said, it was going to be a crazy day in the market, and Tesla also popped today, up 7%, and they're really outperforming all the other EV stocks like NIO and LI. Tesla's really outperforming them, and they're really starting to pop. And just like we had said yesterday, they've had huge swings to the upside, and it just makes me think that they might do that offering. It just makes me feel more confident that they would do that in the upcoming future, just given that their price keeps going up, so it's going to make it more and more tempting for them to offer more shares.
Gotcha. So we actually talked about this a little bit in yesterday's video. On what Tesla has done in the past is when their share price just skyrocketed up, sometimes they would do a share offering, and it's just an idea right now. Tesla is not actually doing a share offering, but it's just a possibility. If they were to do this, it would raise a lot of capital for the company that can help them become more profitable in the long term. So that's just something to keep in mind. And also when companies do share offerings, normally the stock falls in the short term. And then Tom, what happened with Palantir today?
That was actually some crazy news, and they actually got a new government contract, which is awesome, and they flew up 17%. You can see how good this stock actually traded today, and tons of guys in the Discord made a lot of money on this. Government work makes up more than half of Palantir's revenue, bringing $163 million in its latest quarter. So you can really see that Palantir is the government is a big factor into Palantir. They have a lot of government contracts, like they said. It really is a big part of their company, and that's part of the reason why they pop back up. And I'll be honest, whenever Palantir started pulling back right here, I was honestly expecting them maybe to start crashing and burning, similar to kind of like how NKLA did in the past, and just a few other stocks that run up like this. But it's nice to see them starting to pop back, and as long as they can make higher highs, I'm happy with it. But my scenario right now is if we start to see maybe another green day tomorrow come up to around 32, and then we have lower highs, which would actually scare me in the short term.
Gotcha. So yeah, they're overall they're doing pretty good though. Since IPO from around $10 right now, they're at 29. So overall they're doing good, and they are a recent IPO too. So I'll definitely have my eyes on them for the next couple weeks. And then Tom, what is going on in the political field right now?
It's actually pretty crazy. Congress aims to pass a 1-week spending bill and keep the government running through December 18th, 18th, as lawmakers rush to strike a coronavirus relief deal and avoid a government shutdown, and they will vote on this bill on Wednesday. And that will really keep the government running just like another week longer or 2 weeks longer, just so that they can get that bill passed and actually, fund the government. Because right now there's a lot of fighting going on, and the government is actually at risk of shutting down, just like it has been in the past. And if it does shut down, that would obviously hurt the market. And in the past, it's really hurt the market. So it's just one of those scenarios that if that does happen, it'll definitely hurt the market. But I think that's pretty unlikely, given that both Pelosi and McConnell have been coming out saying that they think the bill can get passed before the end of the year.
Gotcha. So we are at all-time highs right now in the market. Yeah, we're pretty dang close to all-time highs. So we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks. But we definitely have the tech sector starting to pop off again, especially with Tesla and the electric vehicles. But it's also nice to see Palantir pop up, and like we even see Apple trending up slightly. So it's interesting, a lot of interesting movement in the market right now. But let's get right into our Discord member of the day. Today's member of the day is Michelle F, and she made a great trade on SPCE today. She said overall she made about $600. So great job, Michelle, for being disciplined and always spreading positivity in the Discord chat. So congratulations on your trade today. But now let's get into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And Tom, you already know what the first one is, SPCE.
Yeah, they're having a lot of movement in after hours right now. I would actually make them pop above 34.75, and if they break that, then make them pop above 35.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have Palantir.
PLTR, of course, make them pop above $30.
Sounds good. And then we have Pfizer.
PFE, another big mover today, make them pop above 41.50, which was the high of the other day.
All right, and then we have Tesla.
Tesla, make them hit above 640, 649.
Awesome. So a lot of these stocks have a ton of momentum. Basically, if they break above the levels Tom listed, we are eyeing them for a day trade tomorrow to the upside. But for the $16 million options trade that we're eyeing for tomorrow, it is the Apple 125 strike call options that expire this Friday. So Apple's trending upwards a little bit today. I mean, Tom, are you seeing that bull flag there?
Yeah, I am actually. That's actually what I was about to say. Is I'm actually seeing a little bit of a bull flag on this, and it looks like just a very nice flag. And I think that if we do see movement on Apple, I would really think that we would see it tomorrow rather than later in the week, just given the setup it has today.
Gotcha. So for those for the audience who doesn't know what a bull flag is, can you like just briefly explain it?
Yeah, I'll actually draw it out while I do it. So, what a bull flag pretty much is that you can pretty much you'll have a flag pole that extends up into the flag like this, and you can see I kind of drew the flag out right here. So the whole point is that you'll have a pole extending up into the flag, and then once the pole pokes out of the top trend line, which will be the top of the flag, once that starts extending out upwards, the whole point is that the move to the upside should be a similar move of the move of the pole. So if the pole moves like $2 to the upside here, then I would expect a $2 move once it breaks out of the flag.
Gotcha. So basically, we're waiting for this Apple to break out of that trend line at the top right there. Can you highlight that?
Yep, you're really looking for it to either break above the top all the way up here above 124.60. That would be the safest move, is to get in up there. But then you wouldn't get as large of a move if it slightly breaks above this top trend line. And let's just say it would do that around $124. That would be where I would enter there. And then the reason you'd enter there is because then if it falls down, you can have a tighter stop loss than if you entered up here where it could possibly fall back down to like 123.75. And then if you were holding some calls on that, you would get pretty scared at that point.
All right, cool. So yeah, overall, Apple is looking pretty decent. It's not my favorite setup in the world, but it's looking pretty decent. And they are only about a little over $1 out of the money, and they have a little bit of time, so it's not a horrible setup. I think the best way to go about playing this option is just like kind of like playing it at open. If you see a lot of upwards momentum at open, it'll probably end up continuing throughout the rest of the day and maybe even a couple days later. But if it starts to fall off or it's like way too choppy, then it's probably not the best setup. So overall, I'll definitely have my eyes on Apple too. But let's get into our questions from the previous episode. And we have Outlaw saying, hey, Mike and Tom, what is your opinion on NNDM for the long term? So for 1 year, he said. Thanks, guys. So if we look at NNDM, I pulled up a max weekly chart, and we can see in the past year they're doing pretty well, but in the long term, like that max weekly chart really just kills me. Like I just personally cannot put my money into a chart that looks like this. Like it's just falling so much where personally I would never put my money in there. But in the past year, it's looking to be trending pretty well. So it really depends on your risk tolerance. If you do a ton of research and if you know this company in and out, it can be a great investment. But just for me personally, I would never touch this.
Yeah, me either. It's really risky, like you said, and just seeing this huge drop right here is just that's more than enough for me to just not trade it. And it's also a really low price stock, and like you said, it's going to be really high risk but really high reward.
Yep. And then we have Art saying, thanks for the breakdown. Let's get another great weekend. There's renewed hype in HYLN recently. Any insights, assessments, or predictions there on your end? So let's take a look. Tom, what are you seeing with HYLN?
Yeah, it looks like it's actually bouncing off of this $17.80 support or somewhere right around there on this daily chart. You can see it's hit there around two other times in the past, and the stock has really went up once it hit those levels. So I'm wondering if it'll start to go back up over the next couple days and fill this gap. I really like the setup here. I think it's good because you can put a stop loss right below, maybe at like 1750, and if it hits that, then you can get out pretty safely, or you can just ride this momentum to the upside. So I think it's a pretty good setup. Granted, I don't think it's the best stock in the world right now given the play on it, but I do like it just with this certain technical setup, but it's not my favorite stock to hold for the long term or anything like that.
Gotcha. And then we have Eduardo saying, Mike and Tom always hit it out of the park. Great work, guys. Thoughts on SPLK after the huge dip? ARK bought 55 million worth on this dip. So looking at this max weekly chart, looks pretty solid. They had a good run up recently, but they did have a pretty significant dip recently too. So I think it looks, if you're planning on holding it for the long term, I think it looks pretty decent. Yeah, I like it for the long term, but obviously you don't want to over leverage or do anything like that.
Yeah, and it says it's a pretty good company that actually develops software for searching, monitoring, and analyzing machine-generated big data via a web-style interface. So it sounds like a very interesting company.
Yep. And then we have Mendez saying, do you see WDC pulling back a day this week? So they actually pulled back a little bit today, but I can see them pulling back. I mean, I wouldn't bank on it. What kind of like scares me with this setup is, Tom, can you zoom out a little bit, kind of how you were? Yeah, so like you can see like how back in January, January of 2019, and then what is that, like July of 2019, and then like December of 2019, it really had those like huge like upswings, which it kind of looks like it's doing that right now. So that worries me a little bit, but it did pull back today. I wouldn't doubt if it pulls back tomorrow. Tom, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the move off of this bottom trend line to the upside. And just like he said, though, it is starting to get a little bit overextended. But this is a pretty good stock, and they do actually make kind of like storage for computers and stuff like that, kind of like solid state drives and hard drives. So they're a pretty good company, I think, for the long term. But right now, I think I could possibly see a pullback, especially if you see the other stocks like MU and Intel start pulling back. I think that WDC might pull back with those, but I don't see them falling all the way back down to lows or anything like that. If it's just a pullback, I think it would be a pretty small, slight pullback, because it kind of looks like that they're starting to recover almost back to their pre-corona levels, kind of like the bank stocks and some other stocks have been over the past couple weeks.
Gotcha. Then we had Claire saying, love you guys. How do you feel about PENN? So it depends what time frame you're looking at, but right now in the short term, it seems to be consolidating. For the long term, it looks pretty solid. I like it for the long term. And the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back a little bit, just kind of consolidating and doing nothing. But overall, it looks pretty good. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a double top going on right now around this 76.62 level right here on this daily chart. And you can see it actually is almost like a triple top if you want to count this very volatile day on November 9th. But I think that it's a pretty good setup, especially to the downside right now, in my opinion. But my whole point is that if it does break this high of 76.62, I think it would be a pretty good setup. And just like you said, I think that they're good for the long term, especially given what they do. And the online gaming industry is really starting to step up. And when I say gaming industry, I mean more of like online gambling industry.
Awesome. With the next question, we had Kid saying, great video as usual. He had a question with stock prices and how they take the stairs up and the elevator down, meaning that when stocks go up, they move slow, but when they fall fast. So he said, wouldn't it be more beneficial for us option traders to look to buy puts instead of buying calls? I don't like trying to make a profit off of some company's expense, but your thoughts are greatly appreciated. So great question here. The problem is with options is you're fighting time decay, which, you can't time the market perfectly. No one can. So that's definitely a big problem. So like, let's say you just kept buying puts, right? What ends up happening is you're going to buy these options and they're going to decay a lot in value. And like, even if you get a ton of time, they're going to lose value over time. One, because of time decay, but also because the market generally tends to trend upward. So you're also getting further and further out of the money. So, like in my opinion, if you're looking to play the downside, even though when the market falls, it falls fast to the downside, there's still a lot of opportunity to get in. I wouldn't say to just like buy puts and hold them if that's what you're thinking. It depends how you do it. There's certain ways where you can make it work. Like if you have like a certain model in place, it is possible to make that work. But in general, I just don't like the, like buying and holding puts, time decay and then getting further and further out of the money and then the implied volatility. And there's just a lot of potential problems. If you do your research and like you really analyze historical data and things like that, it's definitely possible to make a working strategy out of it, but it would definitely take a lot of research and just analyze, you'd have to analyze a lot of data to optimize it the right way. But great question. With the last comment, we have Daniel saying, watch you guys every day. Thanks for making the tickers bigger. So first of all, thank you so much for that comment. Comments really help us grow the channel, but we're also really glad to hear all the positive feedback on yesterday's video. So we made the tickers a little bigger so everyone can see them clearly. So we hope you guys like that change. So far, we had a ton of positive feedback on that. So we're glad to hear that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Comments really help us grow the channel. So if you guys can leave a little comment down below and hit that like button, Tom and I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps us grow the channel. As always, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. And if you guys want to trade the same options as Tom and I every single day and then also get access to the machine learning robot, you can click the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. But besides that, thanks for watching.